Hello and welcome back to Kentucky Farms Mapping. It's been a while. I've been extremely busy, but we're back on the map here for a little bit. I've made some changes to it, so you'll be able to see those, and we'll just kind of get into it, and I'll explain what we're going to do as we go along. So stay tuned and hope you enjoy it. Okay, we're going to start on the farm manager mode. One reason is for the things that we're going to do today, I'm not going to need anything except one field, and we'll kind of get into it here a little bit. Okay, once we get to the farm, you'll notice that it is now row crop ready. Okay, and one of the things I want to make sure that everybody understands is row crop ready does not mean that it's row crop necessary. Okay, you can still plant things, harvest things, do all the other stuff you've always done without using the row crop ready. All you do is just use a standard planter. Okay, so what we're going to do today is actually test the difference between row crop ready and just a regular planting of a cornfield. We're going to take the yields from both of those and compare them and see what we have to do, maybe make some adjustments to the row crop ready in order to get the yields about the same as the regular. I've heard that the yields on some of the row crop ready stuff is not as good as it is on the regular crop, which makes sense, sort of, because you don't have as much you don't have as many plants because the rows are wider apart. But we're going to take a look at it and just see how much difference there is, if there is any difference, and we're going to kind of go from there. So we'll just continue on here. When I test the map, and what I've done every time I've tested it is I have probably 500 or so mods on here. Okay, a lot of mappers, from what I understand, will test it without many mods to make sure it works. I want to make sure it works with a bunch of them. So I use every mod I have in testing, make sure that it works with all these on here, see if there's any mod conflicts. I'm not going to go through and show you every single mod I have. That would take way too much time, and it'd be ridiculous to even do that. So just so you know, there's about 500 mods on here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started, make sure that it boots up. And once it does, I'll kind of explain a little bit more to you about what we're going to do. Okay, so here's our setup to begin with. What we're doing is we're somewhat realistic, not perfectly realistic. Our auger wagon's a little big here. We have a 1586 pulling a Case International 650 planter. Okay, it's a 12-row planter. This is the row crop ready version. This is from Rooster Mods. We're going to use the row crop ready version of this planter, and then we'll use the standard version of it when we get to that part. We're going to do row crop ready first. Okay, we're just planting, instead of silage corn, we're going to do regular corn. Okay, we also have a International 1486 combine with a 6-row head on it. This is a 12-row planter, so there's a 6-row head. We have another International pulling 2 Parker wagons. We're on one of the kind of small to medium-sized fields on this map. It's one of the more rectangular ones, so just a little bit easier to plant. What I'm going to do is just plant around the outside first, and then plant the interior of the field. The reason for doing the end rows first is it just allows me to know just exactly where the rows are and I'm going to try and get the least amount of double rows as possible on here, okay, to make it a little more accurate. So we're going to start with that. I've cheated in the seeds and fertilizer for this. Actually, I don't have the fertilizer, so I need to change that. That wasn't too smart. Thought I had the fertilizer on here. So let's go back to the Cyclo Planner. Customize that. Add the twin tanks. Okay. And now, not too sure what happened there. Okay, so now we can add the liquid fertilizer. Okay. So we're full of corn, we're full of liquid fertilizer, and now what we're going to do is set up the field. So I'm going to go to the cheat sheet here, and we're going to go to, let's see, what do I do? Well, I'm going to go to set the field ground. I'm going to go to field 18, which is what this is. The field 18, our ground type. I think what we'll do just to be consistent is use a seed bed. I'm going to go ahead and it really doesn't matter here. I'm going to leave the fertilizer at 0. I'm not going to change any of this other stuff. I'm just going to leave it like it is right now. So we've got a seed bed, and that's it. No herbicide. Confirm that, and go back, and we're ready to plant. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started planting here. And we'll just unfold and get going. See if I can't be a little consistent with this. Oop, okay, that's the other thing we have to do. We have to go ahead and jump out of here and sleep. We'll just 7 o'clock in the morning. It'll give us some time. We'll set our, I'm going to slow our time down a little bit too, just to make sure that we can get this planted. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be able to. Okay, right now it's set on 15. Oh, I do want to slow it down some. So we'll just set our time to 5. And now we should be ready to plant. Okay. So we'll go ahead and lower this and take off. Looks like we're planting fine. We are using fertilizer, and we are also decreasing the amount of seed. Yep, we're also using seed. So just go ahead and plant this, and then we will speed up the time, get it to harvest time, and we'll harvest it and see how much of it there is. For the purposes of this video, just to keep things a little more consistent, I'm going to square these 2 back corners off, just simply because of the fact that they are a little sharper turn. So we're just going to kind of get rid of those, and let's get the marker out of the way here. And we'll square these 2 off and just make it a little bit easier. Get up here and plant the end rows. Oh, we'll have some overlap here. I didn't get stopped quite as soon as I wanted to, but It's not that much of an overlap. I have a little bit here. A little bit of a double plant. Close enough. Okay, then we will also square off the next one coming up here. The two on the other end are pretty smooth and pretty wide turns, so we don't have to square those off, but these two we will. Okay, we'll check some numbers here. We did almost the worst case scenario. You know, when we cheated in this seed bed, we didn't add fertilizer, we didn't plow it, we didn't do any of that stuff. So if you take a look at the numbers over here on the right, you'll see that we have weeds that are growing. It needs plowing, it needs rolling. We didn't do any of that stuff. The soil, I didn't have any data for that. Expected yield is 57%. So, you know, our yield is pretty low, but that's fine. I mean, it's a comparison between two different types of planting. So we're going to see what we get off of this, and then we will take a look at what we get with the regular planting, and we'll compare the two. Okay, the other thing that we want to check here is the amount of fertilizer and seed that we used. So we have 74% of the fertilizer left, and we have 25% of the seed left. So we'll compare those to the other way of planting. And what we're going to do next is we'll get out of here. I'll fast forward the time, get into the harvest season. I could, you know, do fertilizer and lime, and we're not going to go through all of that stuff. This is just kind of to check the difference in the different types of planting that we have without all of the other stuff that we have. So I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward it into harvest time. We will harvest it, see how much we get, and give us a base to compare it to. Okay, be back in just a little bit. Okay, so I've kind of jumped ahead here a little bit into July, and we'll just take a look. I'm relatively satisfied with the way that I planted it. It's not perfect, but it's perfect enough for what we're doing. I did miss a spot here. I left that strip just so, you know, there wasn't any reason to have a bunch of overlap on there. Okay, but the rest of it looks pretty good. The weeds are tall. There's a little overlap, maybe here or there a little bit, but all in all, it turned out pretty good. So this is just to give you an idea of kind of what it looks like. And hopefully we're going to use the same planter when we plant the other way. So once we do that, it should end up looking pretty much the same as this. So yes, I know I could have used course play, and I could have used a helper, and I could have used GPS and all of that stuff, but I didn't want to. So this is the way I did it. If you want to do it some other way, go ahead and try it. But this is the way that I wanted to do it because I like to play like this, and so this is how we're going to see how it works. Okay, so that just gives you an idea of what it looks like. We'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit and get into harvest season. Okay, we are back, and we have fast forwarded up to October. So we are ready to harvest and see what we get out of this. So we'll take off here and get going, get everything unfolded here. See, thing unfold there. Must not have. And one thing I have done, I did kind of cheat this in a little bit, and I set the speed for this combine to 6 miles an hour instead of 3. I didn't want it to take forever to do this. And the other thing that we want to do is turn off the straw swath. Leave that. There we go. Okay, we'll just get going and see what happens here. Okay, we're going to pause here for a second and see if we can maybe add some weight to this or something, because boy, is it bouncy. I already have 1,800 pounds on the back of it. I wonder if try it with nothing on there, if it would be less bouncy. We'll try it and see. Okay. I think the answer to that is no. Well, that's about the same, I guess. All right, we're getting out of the cab. Can't see what I'm doing. And it's crazy bouncy. Missing a row. All the way back here. Well, that's just good. Let's go all the way back and pick it up. All right, we're going to stay outside the cab. It's going to be better. Okay, I decided I'm going to try a couple of other things while I'm doing this, and it shouldn't affect the yield at all. But this is custom modding 7250 combine, which is just a beautiful combine. But it doesn't have a 12-row head, an international 12-row head that I can find. I haven't looked really hard. But this is the Dominic's, or whatever the brand name is. I have to look at it again. Not very realistic here. So this is the 12-row head that I found. So this is going to be a big no for this one. What else we're going to do is we're going to sell this. I'm going to go ahead and finish this row out, run back up there and dump it out. Then we will get a John Deere with a John Deere head and take a look at that, see how it works. This one just, I don't like it at all. Okay, you can actually see the difference in the heads between the last one I used and this one. I'm getting off the rows here. You can see the corn actually going through the head into the feeder. So actually works pretty much like it's supposed to. I think we're going to stick with this one for now. Let's go ahead and finish this. This header, by the way, is the 712C header, and it's also custom modding's S680, I believe, combine. Yeah, the S680 combine by custom modding. A lot less bouncy. Let's see what it's like inside. Oh, a lot less bouncy. And actually, right inside this one, this really looks good. I haven't tried putting the Rowcrop on a bigger planter yet. The ones that it's on, like the John Deere and the International, are actually 70s and 80s planters. I know there's a Kinsey planter that Squatch Monkey put it on. I'm not sure what year that is. That's still like a 12-row planter. If you get into some of the bigger corn heads, like 16-row and stuff like that, there's really no planter that is a 16-row planter. So, you know, you could, I think Squatch Monkey was the one that, along with how to add Rowcrop to the map, he also, on that same video, it shows you how to add row crops to a planter. I haven't tried that yet, but I think I will. So we'll just go ahead and finish this. Okay, finished up. Stop running over the pile here. We're finished up. We are going to empty this, and it kind of looks like the auger wagon's going to hold the entire field, which is probably not a great thing, but it'll be easy to see how much we get. Once we empty this, we'll grab our total liters that we have and see the results are. And after we do this, we'll just do it again in the base gain row spacing and see what the difference is. Okay, let's hop out of here and hop into here, and And says we have 609 liters. So we will go ahead and write that down. 609. Okay, so like I said, we'll do it all again and compare all the numbers we got to the base game. Okay. Okay, and we're back. This time we have the non-Rowcrop version. Got it full of seeds for corn. We also have it full of liquid fertilizer. We're going to plant, harvest, do the same things we did last time, and then we will compare the results. I think I did misspeak the last time. I think what I said when we looked at the results at the end, I said there was something like 609 liters. There was 609 bushels. I knew that. I just said liters instead of bushels. So anyway, it wasn't very much for this field. It's not a very good average, but we'll take a look at that. And once we get all of this done, then we will go ahead and compare everything and see what the difference is. Okay, so if you notice down here, we're running out of seed, which we had 25% of the seed left. You know, after we were finished planting, and we have officially run out of seed at this plant. So there's quite a bit of difference in seed usage. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fill back up here. And let's see, we have 31 bushels. It says it's planting at 5 bushels per acre. Okay. So we have 31 bushels in here, so we've used 31 bushels, and when we planted the other time, 25% of 31 is about 7.5 to 8. So we only used like 23 bushels to plant the first time. Okay, so we're going to use quite a bit of seed. Okay, we'll just go ahead and get this finished. And okay, we are finished with planting this. We did use quite a bit more seed. We're actually 67% left on the second fill. Now we have 68% fertilizer left, and we have actually used more fertilizer too, because we had 74% left on the first planting that we did. Okay, so we will go ahead and fast forward the clock and get this up to harvest time. Let's take a look here and see what this says. Okay. This is a little odd. Our expected yield, I didn't do anything any different on this field. We had precision farming turned on. Both of these. Both of them have growing weeds. They both need plowing. They both needed rolling, all of that. Our expected yield on the first plant that we did was 57%. The expected yield on this planting that we did says 92%. So that's a huge difference. What we're after here is the yield. So we'll see what the yield comes out to when we combine this, and we'll just go from there. Okay, here we go. We're all set up and ready to harvest. So we'll just let it take off here. I'm just using the same combine that we used to finish up on the last one. Okay, I'm using the S680 and the 712C head. So we'll just go ahead and get this combine and see what happens. Okay, well, we're done combining this. I do know one thing, we got a lot more corn out of it because I had to get wagons, whereas with the Rowcrop we put everything in one auger wagon. So we will see what the totals are once we get this empty and we take a look at what we have here. I do know I went back and looked at some of the yield. You know, I said the expected yield was a lot different between the two. Well, when I went back and took a look at both of them, they're pretty close to the same. So we're just going to kind of stick with that for now and kind of figure out what we have based on the amount of fertilizer and everything else that we did to these. So we'll be back and total things up. Okay, here are the results. And they are pretty interesting. So it looks like there's some changes that I need to make on the map. For this map, for the way that we did it, using those planters, that situation, remember we started out with no fertilizer, no plowing, no weeding, none of that stuff. And the only fertilizer we used was what was in the planter. So for the row crop, we used 274.82 gallons of fertilizer, 23.25 bushels of seed. We got a total of, we harvested a total of 609 bushels of corn for 71.65 bushels per acre. As far as the expected yield percentage, it's relatively accurate for both of them. I didn't take a lot of samples, but that's about what it came out to. So for a 75% expected yield, that turns out to be 95.5 bushels per acre at 100% yield. That's low. So we need to go in and tweak probably the fruit types in the XML, I would imagine. Maybe the fill types. I don't remember which one it's in, but one of those two. I'll have to go in and tweak that and bump the yield up. As far as the base game, I thought this was kind of interesting too. We used 338.24 gallons of fertilizer, 41.23 bushels of seed, which is, you know, it's more of because you have more plants because the rows are closer together, unrealistically close together. We harvested a total of 1,543 bushels of corn, which comes out to 181.53 bushels per acre. At 75% expected yield, comes up to 242.74 bushels per acre at 100% yield. It's more accurate. That's a little bit high, but it's more accurate by far than what the Rowcrop was. And just as a comparison, the average bushels per acre for this area of Kentucky, which, I mean, the area that the map was made, is about 210 bushels per acre. So, you know, I need to get that 71.65 up closer. Well, actually 95.5 at 100%. I need to at least double it, maybe a little bit more to get it closer to that 210 bushels. 210 bushels is the average. So, you know, it's pretty close to what it should be once a little bit more than double that. Okay. I just found the numbers were pretty interesting. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and got some information out of it. So thank you for watching.